Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel, Rachel Reads. I'm in a different spot today. I'm in my husband's office, hence the Marvel poster behind me. But I just wanted to do something fun today. I decided to do a book tag, and this is the reading habits tag. So this tag was first created by the Book Jazz back in 2012, so it's a really old tag. But I found it online and I thought it sounded fun, so let's talk about my book habits. The first question is, do you have a certain place at home where you read? And my answer to this is kind of. Honestly, I'll read anywhere I feel comfortable at the time. Mostly it's on the couch or in like my recliner in the living room. I really like reading in that room. It's comfortable and warm. But I also will often read at my dining room table or like at my kitchen island, just because I tend to be able to stay awake longer if I'm sitting in more of a hardback chair and I'm at a table. I find that if I'm like up late reading and I don't want to go to bed but I'm really tired, I can stay awake better if I read like that. So, and then of course I will read in bed before I go to sleep, but I tend to fall asleep very easily once I'm in bed, so for the most part I'll read like my Kindle in bed because I can have all the lights off already, and once I'm done reading I can just click it off and close my eyes and go to sleep. So yeah, for the most part I can read anywhere. I love reading outside, like when the weather's good for it, out on the porch or like on a blanket in the grass. Last year I got a hammock from my mom for my birthday, so hopefully this year I'll do a lot more reading in the hammock. I just have to figure out where to put it in the yard so that I have shade, but that is like still a nice place to sit. The next question is, do you use a bookmark or just a random piece of paper, or what do you do? So for me it's bookmark all the way. I love bookmarks. I love how pretty they can be. Some of the book of the month bookmarks I will color on because they're white with blue lettering. So I'll just take markers and color my own designs in. So bookmark all the way. But I'll use anything I have. If I don't have a bookmark, I'll use something else. That's just my preference. Ooh, the next question is fun. It is, can you just stop reading at any time, or do you have to read to like a certain place? Like you have to read to the end of the chapter or to a page break. You can't just stop in the middle of whatever. And for me, I can literally stop reading in the middle of a sentence. Like I don't even need punctuation, and then leave the book and come back to it and start exactly where I left off. I don't know why. Honestly, I didn't think that was something weird until just recently when someone on a Facebook group I was in, maybe, they were like, how can people stop reading in the middle of a chapter? I'm like, what do you mean? I thought that was normal. So, I don't know, I guess I'm weird. Next question is, do you eat or drink while reading? And my answer is all the time. When I was a kid, I would read while eating meals all the time because I was a really busy kid, especially in like middle school and high school, and that was sometimes the only time I got to read my books. But also, yeah, now as an adult, I'll read while I'm having my coffee in the morning, read during breakfast. My husband and I like to read at the dinner table. That's just our style. So yeah, I'll read while I'm eating or drinking. And then of course you gotta have snacks. If you're just sitting and reading for a few hours, you have to have snacks. You can't get hungry, it'll distract you from the reading. So absolutely. So the next question is related to multitasking. Can you have music or TV on the background when you're reading? And my answer to that is kind of. I can listen to music while reading. Recently I've been doing that more, but for me it has to be like instrumental for the most part because I don't want the lyrics to distract me from the words on the page. So I'll like download movie soundtracks where you can listen to the score, or I will download like classical music or whatever. I've recently been listening to, I found it on Apple Music. It's Pride and Prejudice, music from the classic adaptations. It's the Bell Society players, and they play the scores for the 1995 BBC version and then the 2005 movie version with Keira Knightley. And yeah, I love that music, so it's fun. I also am big into like the ASMR rooms or the general ambiance type videos on YouTube. I love kind of having that. Again, it's just nice white noise background music. And as far as TV goes, sometimes if I'm reading a really good book but I want to watch TV, I will do both at the same time. Usually, like if it's a Hulu show and there's commercials, I can read during the commercials or whatnot. So I used to do that all the time as a kid before streaming services existed. I'm aging myself, but I'd have a book going to read during all the commercials whenever I wanted to watch TV. So the next question asks, do you read one book at a time or several at once? And for me, my sweet spot's 2 books at a time, 1 audiobook and 1 physical book. And I can do like 3 at a time. Sometimes I'll have an ebook, an audiobook, and a physical book all at once, but I prefer 2 just because, if I'm going to sit down and read, I don't want to have to choose between 2 books. But if I'm going to be up and about doing things, I have my audiobook. And occasionally I'll be like listening to the same book as I'm reading and going back and forth. If it's like a really long book, I did that with Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. And that's useful because you get through the book more quickly. Those big honkin' books are very intimidating. And if it's going to take you a really long time, it might deter you from picking it up. So I find that like switching mediums helps the book go by faster and you don't feel like it's taking forever. So the next question is just reading at home or reading everywhere. Well, it's been about a year of this pandemic and I have not been out that much other than to work. I work in healthcare, so I don't work from home. But yeah, I would say I would read anywhere. I mean, I don't normally take books to work because I don't usually have time for that much of a lunch break. I'm just working straight through the day, eat at my desk kind of work. But in terms of like reading outside the house, I'll take a book with me anywhere. I mean, I'm not picky, but I don't do that much reading outside of my house. Maybe if I were going to a coffee shop back in normal times, I would have a book with me, but that's about it. The next question is reading out loud or silently in your head. I'm a silent reader. I can't read out loud. I just think it's slower and I don't know, makes me a little self-conscious, I guess. But yeah, I don't see the benefit of reading out loud to myself. I'm not like a audible learner. I'm more of a visual learner. So the next question is, do you read ahead or skip pages ever? My answer is not really. No, I don't like to skip pages of something I've never read before because I don't want to miss anything. If I'm rereading a book, I sometimes might skip a part that I'll tell you, when I was a kid, I reread the Harry Potter books so much that it's like I memorized them. And there would be chapters that I would skip sometimes, and for the most part, that's about it. I don't really skip on any other books. As far as looking ahead, I have done it a couple of times, mostly if the book is really scary and I just want to make sure everything's going to be okay. Sometimes I'll skip forward a few pages, just read a couple sentences to make sure, and then go back again. And that way, it just doesn't scare me as much. I don't know. That might be a bad thing. I don't care. The next question is, do you break your spines or do you keep them like new? For a hardback, I try not to break the spines for sure. For a paperback, I'm not too precious about it. If it's a really thick paperback, I kind of have to, or else you're holding this book and you can't hold it in a way that's comfortable unless the spine is a little bit broken. So yeah, it doesn't usually bother me to break the spines a little bit as long as I'm not destroying the book totally. If it's not falling apart, then yeah, whatever makes it more comfortable to read. Books are meant to be read, not to sit on a shelf and look pretty. And the last question is, do you write in your books? And I don't, as a habit, it's not something I set out to do, but I have in the past written in books just because just if there was a quote or, you know, just a section of the book that I wanted to make a note of, I would write in it, underline, or to make a little notation. But again, as a rule, it's not something I do a lot. In my Kindle, I highlight a lot. I don't know why, it's so easy to highlight in your Kindle, and yeah, if I have lines that I really like, I'll highlight them. But for the most part, yeah, it's not a rule for me or a habit, but I do it if I feel compelled to. So that's it. Those are all of the questions. I want to say thank you to the Book Jazz for creating this tag way back in 2012. I was in grad school back then. Oh, good times. Yeah, it's just a fun tag to do. So comment down below if you have any reading habits that you would like to share, or if you find any of my reading habits appalling. Let me know, I'm curious. Otherwise, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I really appreciate you watching. So have a great day. Bye.